Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for a shoulder day, and we started the day off with seated shoulder press. Of course, again, not the most flattering position when I've added a little carbs back into my diet, just because of the waistline and the loose skin. But it's something I've said before, not going to worry about it. It is what it is. If I keep getting leaner, it tightens up, and I notice anytime I drop the carbs down, it gets considerably tighter, so I can kind of make that happen at any time. So what I'm going to keep doing, continue to hammer all the fasted work, right? All the fasted cardio, all the fasted training in the morning, keep the protein overfeeding high so that we just keep losing body fat, right? And if we keep losing body fat, it's going to be in a good place there, right? Because that really is the key. That's always the key with loose skin that you have to remember. Yeah, you can do some stuff with water occasionally that'll temporarily tighten it up. But at the end of the day, losing body fat is the best possible thing you can do for it over time, right? So again, keep antioxidants high, good diet, body fat. So why the seated today? I go back and forth between the seated and the standing, and it does seem like whenever I go back over to the seated, I do feel like I isolate my shoulders and upper chest and stuff a little bit more, right? And I always try to do them through my full range of motion. On the seated, I can't touch my chest. That is my bottom range of motion there, right? So on the standing, I can lay back more. All right, so I ended up getting about 6 reps with that. And then we go to the upright rows. Now the upright rows, I've been working on keeping them stricter, trying to get a little better range of motion, again, within the ability of my shoulders to do them. And I feel like these, when I see them, I can tell my whole upper chest, my shoulder girdle is getting bigger. I can see on these my biceps are getting bigger, right? Notice the biceps. The training biceps for 20 plus sets a week, doing 2 bicep days every week, like having an arm day and doing them on back day, I think is really, really slowly starting to pay off there, right? Because I noticed on these today, I'm looking at them like, okay, my biceps are a little bigger. Now, could it be because I've been training them, they've gotten bigger, and now that I've eaten some more carbs, I'm filling back out? Could be the fact. Right, could be the fact. And for the carbs, people are like, well, what am I doing? Follow me on Facebook. If you're seeing this on the tubes instead of Facebook, follow me on Facebook. Like, I show my food. You guys see a lot of my meals. You see my shopping. You see a lot of my cooking. All right, we put it all up there. All right, we put it all up there. So the shoulders, though, definitely making gains. Biceps are making gains. So again, those things are coming along well. So I need to make sure I keep losing body fat, because again, also at the end of the day, getting that waistline tighter, that's going to be the key. But we've made a lot of progress there. And again, it changes week to week based on what I'm eating and what's going on. But again, even though that always, when I add some carbs back in, it seems like it feels a little looser there. That will get tighter with more fat loss. But I can see the difference now. I feel like my chest and shoulders and biceps, I feel like those things look a little fuller now as of the last couple of days. So again, adjusting diet a little bit, so I'm getting that fullness there at least. And keeping in mind, as I've said over and over and over, and most people with experience in it knows, if you get lean enough, loose skin tightens up. And like I said, it's made substantial improvements. Like I said, I feel like it was a little tighter 2 weeks ago when I was on all the lower carbs, really low carbs, but that's okay. At this point, I need to make sure, though, that all my body composition and health and everything are coming along perfectly, and I do feel like adding a little bit of healthy carbs back in will help with that. All right, but I mean, my diet is relatively balanced right now. It's all whole foods, by the way. So when I say carbs, I'm literally mean sweet potatoes and brown rice. All right, sweet potatoes and brown rice. And fats and things. Obviously, I'm going to get fat from eggs. I'm slowly working out the full fat dairy. I don't feel I need it with the carbs in, so I had to go through the last bit of that I have. We're going to go over to some of the lower fat dairy, but we're going to continue to eat eggs, lots of avocados, walnuts, and then take my fish oil. All right, Shrugs. We PR'd here. This other stuff wasn't really PRs, but Shrugs I just added in last week with straps. And I'm like, okay, I was able to get 8 with straps last time at this weight, so I got 10. I'm like, let's increase the weight, right? Now that we're getting used to this and putting straps on, let's go ahead and load it up. Let's go ahead and blow the traps up, even though I need my delts, rounder and wider. I do feel like neglecting upper traps probably isn't good. So again, I want to do a little bit of work, even if it's just 3 sets of shrugs. It goes with all the other pulling I do. It's still not getting any direct work beyond that. I mean, yeah, all of my shoulder exercises do hit traps. Like, we do need to be clear on that. But I feel like my balance with all of it is good enough that I'm making delt gains and I do enough delt work that I think I can get away with the shrugs to make sure that we maximize everything. I need every muscle growing. Every muscle needs to grow. You know, even though, yes, my biceps are lagging a little still due to undertraining, I'm fixing that by just giving them the most attention. And I think that's what I'm going to do. My biceps are going to be the only muscle that gets that much attention. But I do need everything else to get, plenty of work. So I ended up doing 16 sets for delts today. 16 total sets, but then we did shrugs and then we did neck. So we did 3 sets of shrugs and 3 sets for my neck. So for the delts, we started off there obviously with the seated press and upright rows, then we did laterals. Okay. Then I like to do front raises. So we did 3 sets of these. I think I picked up a rep here on these at some point, a rep or 2 through all of it. I think one of them was 13. I've been doing sets of 12. Again, I like front raises. This is a point of contention. A lot of people are like, well, if you're doing pressing, you don't need it. I feel it adds more to the table. Plus, I mean, using that logic, if you do chin-ups, you don't need curls. You see how silly that is? And I get it. People are worried that the front delts can be overdeveloped relative to the rear delts. Well, make sure you're training your rear and side delts, which I'm doing. Right? All of my side delt exercises hit rear delts, by the way. So the upright rows and the laterals are going to hit rear delts. But then I came in and did 4 sets of rear delt raises. So we made sure the rear delts got 10 sets today. So they are getting worked, getting plenty of work. Plus, back day, we do pull-ups, which hit rear delts, and we do 9 sets of 3 different types of rows. Rows work rear delts. So realistically, even though we're only doing a true direct isolation for 4 sets on the rear delts, in theory, we technically are doing 22 sets for the rear delts, if we count pull-ups and rows. And I think that we should in that case. But, on shoulder day, they're getting 10 total sets, because all the data shows us that most of the side delt exercises actually work the rear delts pretty effectively. And the same thing with the rear delt exercises to the front. So all of it really hit the side delts, all of it. But, do my front delts potentially get overworked? Maybe, but I don't think they do. Can we really say, that they're too developed? I mean, I feel like my whole shoulder girdle could come up. But yeah, all that incline work I do, on chest day, sure, it does contribute there. But, we still do the front raises because they do work the whole shoulder girdle. They do work the upper traps. So then the neck extensions, we get over to neck. I'm just sticking with trying to do sets of 12 with this. I'm not necessarily going to try to progressively overload my neck much more. I just do need to maintain the strength that it has, just for injury purposes and all those things. And I feel like it's in a good spot there. But I do need to maintain that muscle and strength, in those extensors, just for injury prevention, sleeping wrong on it, a cricket in my neck I really can't get away with not training my neck. I feel like I need it. But it doesn't need a ton of it, and I don't have to progress on it anymore. I just need to be able to maintain it. And I can always work on that later. But, not a big deal. But at least we're making sure we're maintaining all of it. All right, rear delts. I did rear delt raises on the incline bench today. I did 4 sets of about 10 to 12. Just took them to failure. So the idea here, by being on the incline bench, we isolate the delts a little more. By turning the pinkies up, it isolates them a little more, so that we really finish off the posterior deltoid or the rear delt. Want to make sure that it gets the direct work. And I've noticed at some angles, like when the lighting was good, when I did those forearm poses, I can see that my rear delts are in fact bigger. They are bigger, so that's a good thing. Again, very, very good thing. So, again, making sure we get the rear delt work. So I did 1 extra set. Normally, most exercises I do 3. I'm like, we can do a 4 set because just want to make sure those rear delts are growing. And then I finished off with a set of hanging leg raises like I do most workouts. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.